Hello, everyone. I'm Pharmacist Michael. And today I have a very special dear friend with me. Her name is Krista. And I am going to ask her some questions about how she went from her situation 2 years ago and now. Hi, Krista.
Hi.
So can you tell me what your life was like 2 years ago?
Chaotic, toxic. I wasn't happy. I was miserable. I wasn't who I wanted to be. I wasn't where I wanted to be. Depressed. And when you met me,
Yes.
you knew where I was.
I know where you were, but
I know. So I struggled with my weight. I just wasn't happy with the person I was. I wasn't.
Okay.
I put on this mask. I put on this show, and I got up every day because of them.
Right.
And I still do. But I was going through the motions. It was just in survival mode. I was just this tunnel. I had these blinders on, and I did what I needed to do to get by every day, pretty much.
Okay. And how did you get to where you are today?
Well, I got started on social media apps like and TikTok and all that. Met wonderful friends as yourself, who was a wonderful support system. You being one of them, suggested a book. And I got the book and I read it, and that started my journey, to be honest with you. Started reading it. I decided that I needed to make a change because not only was I being affected by where I was in my life, but my kids were too. So kind of telling a little background story, was in a very toxic relationship with their father. He was an alcoholic, and I was at home every single day with the kids, and I didn't know what to expect. It was, is he going to come home and rage and scream, and just a whole lot of stuff. So, I didn't work because COVID was around. I had a kid and couldn't work because of COVID was still going on. And then there for a while, the kids had to be at home because there was no school. So I was the stay-at-home mom. I was the teacher, the principal, the counselor, the dad, the mom, you name it. I played all these jacks of all trades. And after a while, it starts wearing on you. So, and then on top of the toxic relationship, things just started going downhill. And then once I realized that the kids were being affected by it, I knew I had to make a change. So I got a therapist. I read that book that you gave me or told me to get, and I made a list of everything that I wanted. Me, not anybody else, but what I wanted. I wanted a job. I wanted to make my own income. I wanted to go back to work. What job did I want? Just these goals, short term, long term. What did I want? And some of them were short term because we're more likely to reach those goals quicker. And once we see success in our heads, we're doing good, because a lot of us like that instant gratification. And if we don't get that instant gratification, we stop. We shut down. We stop. We don't continue. We give up. And I'm being one of them. I did. If I didn't see any progression, or if I didn't see, oh, well, it's done. Oh, well, I'm not going to put forth the effort. I'm not seeing anything. I'm done. Who cares? But I had a lot of support from you, from Kat, from a lot of the people. And I did it. And it's been a long journey, and I'm still going through it.
So what was the breaking point? Because a lot of people stay in bad relationships and they stay in their current situation because it doesn't get bad enough to make them want to go through the unknown of what's it going to be like when I'm by myself? What if I can't find a job? What if I don't make enough money?
All those are my fears, all of them. And the list goes on. My breaking point is when I got a call from the school when my kids told the teachers and the counselors that daddy's coming home and yelling and screaming at mommy, that they are scared to be at home, that they don't know how their daddy's going to be. So when I heard that and got that phone call, it's not about me anymore. It's not about me. It's not about anybody else but those kids. So my number one job, and as a parent, and as a guardian, as whatever, you have got to protect those kids. And that's what I did. So again, I set a date of when I was going to get my stuff, get the kids and go. And on that date, gone. You have to hold yourself accountable.
And you were worried about leaving too, right?
I was terrified because I knew once I did, because it would trigger something in him, he would go nuts. He would just stalk. And it would be the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, and it would be all these emotions run wild. And he would just have emotional whiplash where, oh, I love you, I miss you, oh, I hate you, and call me every name in the book, and you're a worthless piece of, excuse my language, piece of shit mother. You know, you're no good without me. You can't do anything without me. You'll never be anything. You'll never do anything. And because I was in this 12-year relationship, that's all I knew. That's all I knew.
Did you believe those things?
I'm going to say this, and then maybe you can help me explain it. I didn't truly, honestly believe it, but once you hear, like, it's like a psychological warfare. It's on repeat, 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 repeat. So if someone keeps telling you and telling you and telling you and telling you, eventually you're going to be like, well, maybe it's true. Well, maybe I won't make it. Maybe I won't be anything. But that's why I had to have the support system. That's why I had to have a therapist. That's why I had to have all these things in play, because I knew how bad it was going to get, because I've tried to leave several times before, but I would come back because of what you just said, because I was terrified to be on my own. I was terrified of the changes. I didn't want to be alone. That's all. I was familiar with that. And it's hard to rewire your brain after 12 years, after so many years of this abuse. It's hard to rewire everything. It's scary. The unknown is scary. So.
And that's why a lot of people stay in these relationships, because people that for some reason I just lost. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I saw that. You froze for a second. So
anyway, I'm assuming this is a narcissist, and what they do a lot of times is they manipulate. This is a manipulation game, you know.
Yes.
You're nothing without me. You're never going to make it.
Yep.
You know. And that's it. It's, first of all, it's not true, because look at you now. You're fine, right? I mean, I know you got a ways to go still, but you learned how to. And when you said it's all about the kids, that's true, but you have to take care of yourself before you're going to be able to take care of the kids.
Okay, before I could even take care of them. You know what I'm saying? I had to make sure that emotionally I was okay, because I was not the mom that I could be. I was not being the mom that I should be. And my mental health was dwindling bad.
Right.
Over everything. And I knew I had to do something.
So the breaking point was the kids telling the school, and the school telling you.
Yeah, the school told me, and then CPS got involved the first time. And I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't put my kids through that anymore.
Well, at some point they'll take your kids away from you.
Exactly. I could have been held accountable. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's a good thing that didn't happen.
Yes.
So what were your steps? What would you tell somebody who's in an abusive relationship right now, that's being told these things by their significant other, male or female? Right. What would you tell them to help them take the next step
You have to make sure you have your support. You need to make a list. You need to make a list of everything that you need to do, like a place to go. You need to have a support system, because that support system is going to be the biggest thing. Because when you leave, you're going to go through these wave of emotions. And that takes a long time to go through. You need to have a therapist. Find a therapist that you trust, that you guys connect really good. And just kind of tie up all your loose ends. Just, you have to make a game plan. And just expect the worst. Just expect the worst, because it's going to happen. And I know that sounds scary.
What would you say to somebody who has no family to help them, and they're in a relationship like this, and they're thousands of miles away from family, if they even have any family?
There are options. I don't know about in different states, but there are people out there, and there are programs out there that do help people who are in situations that need help. So there's different helplines that you can call. There is programs. I know they're here in Kentucky. I know there is different programs that you can go, and they can give you a safe place to be. So you have to look all that. So when I say you need to plan and make a list, that's something you need to look into. You really need to educate yourself on things like that, because you don't want to just up and leave and have no plan, because you're more likely to fail and go right back.
Right.
So if you have these plans and you have these goals, and that's why I say write everything down and educate yourself and know where you can go and have your protection, have your safe place, and really do your research, you're more likely to succeed and stay away from that.
Do you feel safe now?
Oh, I'm very safe now. I'm very safe now. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So how long did it take you to feel safe after you left?
After I left, there's still a few. So it's been over a year. I've been doing this for about a year now. I am safe now, but he still tries to do his psychological manipulation, where he'll be nice, he'll play nice, and he'll, oh, I love you, I miss you, and I want nothing but the best for the kids. And then when he doesn't get his way, then I hate you, I can't stand you, you're the worst thing ever, you're the worst mom ever. So it's never going to end. But me knowing that that's how it's going to be, I've learned to kind of like shut it off or just block it out. And they want a response. And that's one thing I learned. It took me a long time to learn this. People like that want to be able to know that they can control you emotionally. So if they can just dig and jab, if you react and go off, they know they have you. They know they just got you, they triggered you, and they can control your emotions that way. So the best thing to do is just no response or low contact, no contact if you can. But we've got kids, so that's hard. So minimal contact is the best if you can.
Did you tell him you were leaving and when you were leaving?
No, I did not.
Did he have any idea?
I'm sure he knew. But once I got my stuff and packed my stuff, I packed what I needed, just the bare, packed what I needed, and then had someone meet me there, and then got what I needed and then left. But I always had somebody with me at the very beginning, like do the drop-offs with the kids or like anything I needed. I had somebody with me at all times. Sorry, I'm doing cold.
How did he react to this?
How did he react to this? Oh, he was insane. He was just, I can't even explain it. Like, of course, I think there was a lot of alcohol and possible drugs involved, so it enhanced everything.
Right.
He would stalk. He would ride around for hours trying to find out where I was, trying to find out where the kids were. Call nonstop, back-to-back calling, texting. I mean, I would have thousands of text messages and missed phone calls. And not only that, but he would try to like look me up on all social media and try to find out what I'm doing and where I'm at and who I'm with. And he would go and talk to the friends and do the smear campaign. Oh my God, she left me. Can you believe that? She took the kids and I did nothing wrong and it's all her fault. So yeah.
Okay. Does he know where you are now?
He does now.
Okay.
But he is, so there's a DVO in place. It's a non-unlawful contact. So if anything, he tries to do anything that he's not allowed to, if he's not allowed here, he can't show up here or he'll go to jail.
Okay, so how have the kids taken this?
So it's been a journey with the kids. Now, so there's a 14-year-old involved, a 10-year-old, a 2-year-old, and 11-month-old that's involved.
Oh, there's 4.
There's 4 girls that are involved in all this.
Okay.
Yes. So the oldest is my stepdaughter. I couldn't take her with me because I didn't have legal rights to her because him and I were not married. So she stayed with him, but I got the other 2. My oldest has been diagnosed with PTSD and depression. She's also in therapy. And I've seen, after I removed her from this situation and created a safe space for her, I can tell she's calmed down a lot. And when I say that, I mean, she had a lot of anger built up. She was also in high alert. So people who are in these toxic relationships or narcissistic abuse, I didn't realize this until I started talking to a therapist and started realizing it. But your nervous system is an overload. When you're in these types of situations and when you're in this relationship, you're constantly in a fight or flight mode. You're in high alert all the time. And so you're constantly on high. And so was she, because she never, she didn't know what was going to happen. But once I removed her, you can see her starting to calm down. So she had a lot of anger outbursts, sleeping issues, self-esteem issues. Just she didn't do very well in school. But all that's changed now. She's doing a lot better now. So much better.
Okay, now this is going to be a tough question, and maybe you'll be able to answer it very easily. How is Krista going to make sure she doesn't end up in the same type of relationship again?
That is a very tough question because that's another thing I've been trying to educate myself on because so that's a really tough question, honest. Well, because
and the reason I'm asking you this,
yeah,
is because this happens all the time, right?
It does.
Hi, Jennifer. People that get hooked up with narcissists, if they finally get away from one, very often they end up right back with another one because that's the type of person they're attracted to.
Well, and not only that too, and let me just make a point to what you just said. Not only that they're attracted to that, but if they have the same characteristics, that's comfortability because that's something we know. We're used to that. If that makes sense.
Yep.
It's familiar, it's comfortable. So we kind of fall. So you may fall into that pattern again because, oh, that's familiar. I know this. So that's another thing I want to add to that too.
So when I get questions or comments, I'm going to pop them up here. You're going
That's
to know
fine,
some
yes.
of these people. You will know them because they're TikTok friends. But we'll get people probably in here that aren't.
That's fine. Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to tell you, Krista, is I'm glad you got out. And
I am too.
I was worried. I was very worried about you when I heard this.
Everybody
story.
was.
It's been a long time ago. It seems like it's been
Very
more than
long.
a year, but
I've
maybe it
ghosted
wasn't.
everybody. So here, I knew that when I made this move, I was going to lose a lot of friends. And you have to cut ties with a lot of people in order to do this transformation, because a lot of people don't understand what you're going through, and they may not believe what you're saying or believe what you're going through, and they want to play both sides. So I've had to cut a lot of people away and just start fresh and start completely over. And so that cycle, what I've been told, it's called, I guess it's called like a trauma bond. It's where, they do this, things go good, really, really good, and they love bomb you or whatever this is called. And then the honeymoon phase, there's a diagram of this. And I went to a class that helped help us recognize some of these red flags. And I've got a list that I kind of go through. So I did take a class, and it helped. It was very interesting, and it really helped to kind of recognize those red flags and those issues and stuff. So
well, one thing I can tell you with 100% knowledge is anytime you have somebody drinking that much, the relationship's going to suck. That's just the way it is. And did you ever tell him it's me or the alcohol?
Numerous times. And that wasn't enough.
I remember, I think, talking to you about that. If they're not willing to stop drinking for you, then
or
they
the
don't
kids
deserve to have
you. Well, and I even tried to get him help. I tried to get him into an inpatient rehab, and it was so far bad that it was to the point where he would hide it in a Pringles can and go to work, or he would hide it, but he didn't realize that his demeanor would change.
Right.
He thought he was fine. He thought he could handle it. But then when he got around us and the kids, I could see right through that.
Yeah.
Everything's different. Your demeanor's different. The way you look, the way you talk is different. So I can tell you've been drinking.
Right. And you can smell it.
And smell it through that too.
Right. Oh boy. So do you date guys that drink?
So here's another thing too. So I'm still in therapy. So I have to be careful, because what I've learned is that I have to, just because one had an issue with drinking doesn't mean that they're all going to have issues with drinking. So it's okay to have a drink every so often. But I have to be able to identify whether or not that's a trigger for me. If I get triggered and I have to work through that trigger, or is this a normal behavior for, another male to have, so it's, that's a lot of things that I'm dealing with. It's just, you kind of have to recognize those characteristics. So I don't care for that person to drink, just have a limitation. So
okay.
Now I don't drink a lot just because I have the kids and I don't have time to drink, but but yeah.
Right. Okay, so you met me.
Yes.
You met other people.
Yep.
You read the book Feeling Good, which is a book that I always recommend. And for everybody out there, if you don't know what it is, I'll put a link in the description section of this video to it, because I strongly believe in it.
Yes.
I have it in my Beacons link. I love that book. That book has helped me. It's helped my family members. It's helped friends of mine. And I guess even if you don't have kids, you deserve to be happy.
Everybody deserves to be happy.
Right. And you deserve to, be able to chase your dreams and live your life and do what you want to do, and not be manipulated by somebody who is using you for a certain thing or things. Right.
Right.
But that your relationship with him was a long time. I mean, that's a
It,
lot of years. So
it is a lot of years. I thought I was doing what was best for the kids by staying in the relationship because I didn't want to have a broken home. I didn't want to
right,
have, you go to mommy's house, you go to daddy's. I didn't want that. I didn't believe in that. But then when my health started going downhill, the kids started having their issues and having their problems. I stopped believing in that. And I think we had this conversation at one point. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. Like I cannot
right.
sacrifice my happiness, my well-being. I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. That's not okay. I'm not okay with that. And once I realized that I was done, I had to make a change. That's when it all, started coming together.
But you said something I think is extremely important to every woman that's out there right now struggling with this. Don't try to leave without a plan unless you feel like your life's in danger. I mean, there are times where you just need to get your stuff and get out.
And
Go
that's
to a
fine. You do
shelter.
what you got to do. But as many times as I tried to leave and I came back and I left and I come back, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't have a clue. I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have the support. So I knew what I had. Like, I was like, well, what do I keep doing? Why do I keep, and it's a lot of things. It's the familiar, it's being familiar. It's you're comfortable in that relationship because that's all you've known.
Right.
And I didn't have that plan. I didn't have a support system. I didn't have that therapist. So I think it's, in my opinion, really feel like it's important that you need to have a game plan. You need to have a plan, write it down. And just where are you going to go? Just making sure that it's a safe place and just have all your ducks in a row before you do anything. So Jennifer, so what I did is I set a date of when I wanted to leave. I wrote it down and I said, okay, this is the time that I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave this time no matter what, because I wrote it down. I made a plan. So during that time, I made it far enough to where during that time that I had to make sure I got my ducks in a row. So I contacted my mom. Hey, Mom, I'm going to leave at this time. I need you to be here at this date at this time because I'm going to get whatever I need and I'm out this door. I made sure that I had everybody on board. Everybody knew what was going to happen. Had a place to go. I knew it was safe. And then I had to make sure that I had to have a DVO because I knew what was going to happen. So I knew where the DVO place was to go get that going. So during that time, before that date got there, I had all my ducks in a row. I had to make sure everything was ready. Everything was in place. So when that day came, everything was ready and ready to go.
And I'm assuming time makes things easier, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, the longer you're away from him, the more you realize that, yeah, you can do this. Yeah, you're not worthless. Yeah, you are a good mom.
But I will say this. It gets so much harder before it gets easier. But you've got to push through it. And you're going to go through worlds of emotions. You're going to go through guilt. You're going to go through anger. You're going to go through depression. You're going to go through anxiety. You're going to have everything is just going to hit you at once. And you're going to be like, what did I do? I made the worst mistake ever. I can't handle this. I can't go through this. I can't do it. I'm done. I can't. But that's why you have to have a therapist on board. You have to have family members that you can call up and be like, look, I'm feeling this way right now. I need you to talk me through it. I need you to tell me whatever it is you need to tell me. I don't just help me get through this emotion that I'm going through right now because I'm about to break. And that's the main thing, is being able to have your support system.
And I think, Jennifer, that you've been there, and there's literally hundreds of thousands of women who have been through this exact situation. Names are different, but the situation is very similar.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's just mental abuse. Sometimes there's physical abuse too. Sometimes, there's a lot of things that happen.
There's different types
sometimes.
of yeah.
But really, it all boils down to the same situation where somebody is is, I mean, they're abusing their own body too.
Yeah.
And you're just dying inside because you have nothing. You're just kind of.
Well, a lot of those people, like, he hasn't been diagnosed with being a narcissist. However, just talking to my therapist, he fits that category from what I've told. But they've got a lot of issues too that they've got going on. He's got a lot of trauma that he hasn't healed either.
Right.
So on top of that, his drinking, his trauma that he's dealt with as a child, or whatever he's got going on. So all that built up and rolled up into one, it's just a big ball of chaos. That's just,
right.
Just ready to pop.
Well, we've talked about this before. People have pain and they try to use alcohol to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And at first it works. But after a period of time, it starts making things worse.
Well, you need more of it, because then
you need more of it.
You need more of it because, it made you feel good. You felt good. You had the high. You had the, I didn't feel this pain. I was having a good time. I was laughing. Well, then the next time you have to drink a little bit more, or I'm having a shitty day. Now I've got to have this drink because I'm having well, now it turns into, oh my God, my whole life is crap. And now I've got to drink every day because I can't handle it. So it's just that's a vicious cycle. And then the alcohol's not enough for some people. So then they add more stuff to it.
And then they try to hide it, and they have their partner who knows full well what's going on almost always.
Oh yeah.
And they're dangerous to you and your kids.
Well, because you
probably can't leave your kids with him, right? Because if something goes wrong, what's he going to do? You worry about stuff like that. If there's an accident, if they break their head open, is he going to drive them to the hospital?
And that was my number one fear. Whenever CPS got involved, we had to do every other weekend. And the first weekend that he had them, I was an emotional wreck because I'm like, he doesn't know how to do this. I've been the primary caretaker. Oh my God, what if he does this? And but then I had to get to the point where it's out of my hands. And if something happens, that's on him. Like, I can't be in control. And you have to understand that it'll be on his time and his fault and his issues. And I just have to hope and pray for the best. And that was one of the toughest things the other tough thing that I had to deal with is letting my kids be with him, knowing who he was and what he was doing.
You got to follow the judge's order, though.
I have to. I had no choice.
Yeah.
I didn't, so that was another reality check, wake up call, just that I had to make sure that my kids were okay. And just so when they're with me, I create a routine. They have a very strict routine. I create a safe space for my kids because when they come home, I have to do emotional damage. I have to do like damage control because when they come home, I am the dumping grounds. I am the dumping ground because everything that's either happened or they've held on to, they release it here. So the outburst, the crying, the just screaming and everything. And it's just, I'm that safe parent. So I have to, another thing that I got to deal with. So I usually give them baths. As soon as they get in, I give them baths and help them relax and calm and talk to them, whatever they need. If they want to talk, they want to hug, they want to cuddle, they need time to themselves. Whatever it is you need, you just tell me.
Okay, one of my favorite questions, I ask everybody this. Is there any silver lining to this entire situation for you?
The silver lining to the situation.
Is there any silver lining of going through all of this for all those years?
It's taught me a lot. It really has taught me of who I am, what I'm capable of. I hope and pray that my kids have seen that mommy stood up for herself and that mommy doesn't take crap and that mommy deserves better and that I've taught them a lesson and I've created an example. And then going forward to where, I've met somebody who has helped support me and my kids in creating a safe space. So, yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely a silver lining. So,
And I know Krista gave this person plenty of opportunities, because I know Krista is not the type of person that doesn't tell you how she feels.
right.
So I'm sure this guy was well aware that you were very unhappy in the way things were going.
Oh, yes.
And if he
Oh,
didn't
yes.
change, you were going to be gone sooner or later.
Yes. Oh, I've gave him plenty of chances, and well, you know, I speak my mind, and it was either this or this, and you've got to do this, and this is, and I tried so many different routes, because what works for one person may not work for the other person. So, you know, he tried to stop drinking by himself. So I counted down the days. What are your symptoms? What do you need? You know, I was there. I tried, but that wasn't enough,
Yeah.
and it wasn't ever going to be enough.
Right. And you move forward, and we're going to pray that your new relationship is with a guy that is not going to be like this. I would have a feeling that you would know that by now, though.
I would know, right? I would know that. So, and not only that,
it takes a special guy to take on a woman with 3 kids that aren't his,
and not just 3 kids, but the other partner, the ex-partner as well, and all the shenanigans that goes on there.
Right.
So you have to have somebody who is almost the calm to the storm, if you will.
Right.
Like, that person's going to have a backbone. It's like a patience. You have to have patience. Good Lord, you have to have patience. With all the girls, you have to have patience.
And you really got to like the mom.
You got to like the mom. That's number one.
You got to like the mom a lot to go through that.
You do. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey. It's been a long journey, a very long journey, and it's still going, and it's probably going to be a while. I'm still not 100%. I have good days and bad days. But I still use my support system. I got a secret
for you, Krista. We all have good days and bad days. We all have them.
And that's normal. And it's okay not to be okay.
But you don't call them bad days. You call them less than ideal.
Less than ideal.
Right.
But yes. But I still,
and always remember, when you have a less than ideal day, if all days were good days, there'd be no good days or bad days. There'd just be days, and your life would be very boring.
Right. And my life is definitely not boring.
No, it's not.
No.
Is there anything else you want to tell all these beautiful people out here?
Just make yourself happy. Make yourself happy. Do the work to better yourself. And you and I had this discussion. I think it was on Likey or TikTok. I'm not sure, but do whatever you can to get you right up here. Whatever it takes.
Yep.
If it's a therapist, or if it's going outside for a second, breathing, meditating, whatever it is, as long as if it's good for you and good for your body, please do it. I've been 3 years off medication, about 2 or 3 years off medication. I've been self-regulating, and just finding different tools that worked for me. And I can't stress this enough to anybody and everybody. You got to make yourself happy. You really have to do what makes you happy. You have to. Oh my God. Once I left the situation, it was like I could breathe again. I just felt this weight of the world just come off my shoulders. I could breathe again. I started enjoying things again and laughing, and just, that wasn't me. And I still haven't back. I'm not me 100% yet, but I'm getting there. But every day, like you said, every day it's progress. But I love where I'm at now. I love who I am now. I'm glad I did what I did. I don't regret anything other than, I would say, the relationship that, like, it's taught me things. So I'll take it with a grain of salt. but you've got to do what makes you happy.
And I agree with that.
You have to.
I mean, that's the main living. I mean, the main goal should be being happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not money. It's not a fancy house. It's not a fancy car.
None of that means anything. I'm at a job now that I work I'm a CMA at a pediatric office, and I work with kids all day. Love my job. I absolutely love my job, and I have not been able to say that for a really long time. I love what I do. Absolutely love it. So that's important too. You just gotta, and you have to surround yourself with people that build you up. And that was another thing that I had to learn. I had a lot of people back in the day that didn't really build me up and didn't really support me in the way that I needed to. So I had to let them go. Now I have friends, some of the best friends that I have, that build me up, and they're there for me. If I call them and say, hey, I need something, they're like, I'm there, I've got you, what do you need? And I haven't had that before, so that's a little strange to me. So I tend to be like, okay, well, something's going to happen. Something's going to, but you can't think like that. Like, you have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to think positive.
Yep. Okay, Krista, thank you for coming on here.
Well, sorry.
I really appreciate you. No, it's okay. I just have to go get my daughter.
That's fine.
She's doing ballet, and I have to take her to the beach, which breaks my heart to go back there.
I can really imagine.
Because that's what makes me happy, is the beach.
Oh, so yeah, I need to go there because I haven't been there in a while, and that's what makes me happy.
Yep. But you're right. I mean, you've done all the right things.
Yeah.
You've done all the right things. And, you know, sometimes it takes a year, sometimes it takes 15 years.
And that's why I said, you know, try to do the short-term goals, because eventually you're going to get to your long-term goals. But you have to make realistic goals, because if you don't and you fail, you're not going to do it. You're going to stop trying.
Right. And don't ever listen to the person telling you you can't do it when they're the ones manipulating you.
Exactly.
Talk to a therapist or a family member or somebody that doesn't have any skin in the game. Talk to somebody that's, you can call me, and I'm going to tell everybody that calls me that, yes, you are worth it. Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do whatever you want if you just put your mind to it.
Yes.
And don't ever listen to other people that say you can't.
They don't know. Other people that are outside, they don't know your story. They didn't walk in your shoes. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know, you know, what you're capable of. So there's no reason to take their opinion or listen to their opinion. You can listen to it, but don't believe it. Like,
right. No, that's the one thing I try to tell my kids every day. Don't let somebody else squash your dreams. Don't let it happen.
No.
You do not want to wake up 60 or 70 years old and think, God, I wish I would have tried. I might have been able to do it, but Tommy said I wasn't smart enough, or I wasn't fast enough, or I wasn't good enough,
I couldn't do it, so therefore I didn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You don't want to be there.
No.
I mean, think Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, and Walt Disney was told he had no imagination. What would have happened if Walt Disney would have believed him? There'd be no Mickey Mouse.
No.
Okay, Krista, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for
wonderful, and I knew
getting me started on this journey of, you know, self-discovery and self-love, and
I love
bettering
helping
myself.
People.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah.
And I think you're doing great.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I will see you on TikTok, I'm sure, very soon.
Yes.
Thanks, Krista.
Bye.
Bye. So that's my good friend, Krista. She's amazing. She's come a long ways. I'm going to go ahead when I get time and put some links down in the description section of this video. Thanks for watching. My name is Pharmacist Michael. Be happy and be healthy.